destroys vast hectares of crops in traditional authority Mazingira in Lilongwe. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika and the First Lady, Madam Professor Gertrude Mutharika, join all Malawians in conveying warmest wishes to Muslims across the nation on the auspicious occasion of Eid al-Fitr. In a statement, the first couple expressed wish that the lessons of discipline and empathy should continue guiding Muslims as they conclude the holy month of Ramadan, a period of profound sacrifice, prayer, and self-reflection. The first couple has also expressed the wish that the prayers of this holy month be a reminder of shared commitment to peace, love, and the spirit of togetherness that defines the great nation of Malawi. The first couple has also expressed the wish that Allah graciously accepts the Muslims' fasts and prayers and bestow His abundant blessings upon them, their families, and the country. Dr. Jane Ansah Foundation has donated food items to Al Salam Mosque in Bangwe Township in Blantyre as Muslims in the country are celebrating Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Speaking to MBC after making the donation, Executive Director of the Foundation, Yusuf Ntenda, said the mandate of the organization is to work with the underprivileged communities such as the elderly, orphans, and persons with disabilities. In his response, Sheikh Abdul Rashid Kananji commended the Jane Ansah Foundation for the donation, saying food is a key component of Eid al-Fitr celebration. The donation is worth over 2 million kwacha and it includes maize flour, soya pieces, sugar, cooking oil, and salt.
As Jane Ansah Foundation, our mandate is to work together with the most vulnerable members of the society. We are talking about the elderly, we are talking about those living with different disabilities, and also those who were born with albinism. So these are the people that we work with. And today being a day before Eid, we thought that we can come here and meet and also assist the elderly who are Muslims, those who are disabled, and also people living with albinism, so that they can celebrate together with the rest of the Muslims as they celebrate Eid tomorrow. So we are here just to give them the little that we have. It's not that we have much, but the little that we have, it may help them.
We are very happy to receive this donation from Jane Ansah. Now we are here to celebrate Eid.
Minister of Homeland Security Peter Mukito says government is reviewing laws to enhance the protection of victims of irregular migration and to impose tougher measures against those using uncharted routes in Malawi. Mukito made the remarks in Lilongwe during the launch of the Better Migration Management Program implemented by the International Organization for Migration. Details in this report by Jensi Simoyo.
The Better Migration Management Project aims to improve migration systems and tackle human trafficking and migrant smuggling within Malawi and across the African region. Minister of Homeland Security Peter Mukito says the project will support government efforts in addressing migration challenges and strengthening border controls.
We are trying to protect the victims of human migration, but at the same time to make our country very stiff and very difficult for those that deal in human trafficking to pass through.
Program Officer for Immigration and Border Governance at the International Organization for Migration, IOM, Jeremiah Joshua, says the organization is working closely with the government to respond to key migration issues.
This project is tied primarily looking at ensuring that the movement of people is safe, is orderly and regular. We aim to promote migration because it comes with a lot of benefit, but it should be done in a proper way so that governments who stand along the route, maybe as a transit country or eventual destination country, benefit.
In his remarks, the European Union ambassador to Malawi, Daniel Aristi, emphasized that the movement of people remains a critical issue across the region and requires coordinated action.
We see Malawi now integrating two very important platforms, two very important projects that address the problem of migration, of human trafficking, of smuggling of human beings.
The 2-year project is also being implemented in other African countries with funding from the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development and is coordinated by GIZ. Chinsisi Moyo, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Minister of Information and Communications Technology, Shadrack Namalumba, has called upon internet service providers to consolidate Malawi's data requirements when buying materials from other countries to reduce the cost of internet. Namalumba said this in Blantyre when inspecting one of the country's providers of internet, optic fiber communications, to appreciate some of the strides made by the company. Details with Eveles Chingambe.
Namalumba said government is already engaging the players to utilize optic fiber communications as they can make bulk purchases as one entity, which will in turn reduce production costs for the companies and make data affordable for Malawians.
If you are missing out on larger scale, economies of scale, what it means is that the data now becomes expensive and you pass on that cost to the people. So we have agreed that we need to look at that with the aim that we can consolidate, package, back up all our requirements for data, and then as a nation, we will go to Tanzania, we will go to Zambia, we will go to Mozambique and present as a nation our requirements. Ultimately, we want to make sure that data costs still continue to go down. And for the benefit of everyone today in this, and as we go forward, it's all about connectivity.
Government is on a drive to ensuring that 80% of people are connected to the internet by 2030. Director of OFC, Stella Senti, said they are ready to help connect Malawians, even those from rural areas, to the internet, as every house that is connected to Eskom's electricity can as well access internet through the company.
We actually are targeting the rural masses, and that's why we are penetrating in the remote areas. We understand that the Agenda 2063 is more about digital economy, and therefore that digital economy has to speak to every Malawian. We can now see that every Malawian is actually capable of transacting on their phones, transacting everywhere they are, and we are therefore there actually to make sure that the government's agenda is met even in the remote areas.
OFC is a subsidiary of Eskom and possesses 7,000 kilometers of fiber covering Malawi from Chitipa to Nsanje. Eveles Chingambe, MBC News, Blantyre.
The District Agriculture Office in Chiradzulu expects a significant increase in crop yields this year compared to the previous season. Director of Agriculture Services for Chiradzulu, Mphatso Kafua, disclosed this on an agricultural field day organized by Beya Malawi in Mulumbuzi. Ruth Chinangwa reports.
Kafua attributed the expected bumper harvest to favorable rainfall patterns and the increased number of farmers accessing the government's affordable agriculture imports. However, she cautioned the smallholder farmers against selling their entire harvest, urging them to prioritize household food security to combat hunger.
Okay, for Chiradzulu, as compared to last year, this year is promising. One, because the weather has been favorable this year as compared to last year, and also the inputs, especially seed and fertilizer. More people have access to fertilizer under the farm input subsidy program as compared to last year. So with these factors, at least we are looking, the outlook is looking better. We are hoping to have at least a higher production than last year. We faced a number of challenges in the year. The first challenge, we had down medial disease. This down middle disease was more prevalent in Tumbo EBA, but it went to all the EBA. It affected all the EBAs, and also we experienced a dry spell of at least 7 to 10 days, which also affected production because it came at a peak when the crops were just at cobbing stage, which is crucial where crops require water.
Speaking at the event, Dennis Kajiko, Bayer's Distribution and Relations Manager for the Southern Region, a company that produces the crop seed, said that the use of the modern seeds have potential to address hunger and the effects of climate change.
When farmers plant certified seeds, they harvest a lot. It's high production. We are encouraging farmers to be planting these decab seeds. As you are aware that there are a number of programs that work with. You have seen government officials were here, so work with the government in terms of the FISIP Farm Input Subsidy Program. This year it was there. Our farmers accessed it through the FISIP. Others accessed it through different organizations. We work with the different organizations, and the aim is to try control farmers using these local varieties because they don't get anything.
The field day was held under the theme, Experience the Decab Difference in Your Field. Ruth Ichinangwa, MBC News, Shirasuru.
The civil society organization Nutrition Alliance, SONA, is attributing rising cases of macronutrient deficiency-related diseases in rural communities to limited knowledge on the importance of consuming nutritious and fortified foods. SONA National Coordinator Joseph Gausi made the remarks during a two-day nutrition stakeholders workshop in Cholo District with support from the European Union, which seeks to consolidate solutions and strengthen coordinated efforts in addressing malnutrition. Yohane Chizomola has details in this report.
In many rural communities across Cholo District, access to nutritious and fortified foods remains a challenge, contributing to alarming levels of malnutrition, especially among children. Health experts say macronutrient deficiencies, often referred to as hidden hunger, are a major public health concern affecting growth, cognitive development, and overall immunity. According to recent statistics, stunting in Cholo stands at 40.7%, a development stakeholders describe as worrisome and requiring urgent attention. It is against this background that the civil society organization Nutrition Alliance, SONA, with the support from the European Union, convened a two-day stakeholders workshop aimed at strengthening efforts to address malnutrition. SONA National Coordinator Joseph Gausi says there is a need for intensified community sensitization on the importance of consuming fortified foods, describing awareness as a key pillar in improving nutrition outcomes.
Even here in Cholo, do not understand the importance of consuming food that has been fortified. Even planting by fortified foods. So because of that lack of awareness of the importance of consuming food products that are fortified, we thought that through this workshop we should collectively identify what are our problems and then also define what solutions we are going to do collectively as a district to address these issues.
Local authorities have since described the initiative as timely, pledging continued collaboration to ensure communities are equipped with the right knowledge and resources. Meanwhile, millers in the district have committed to promote food fortification and raise awareness among communities as one way of tackling malnutrition at the household level. Experts emphasize that improving access to diversified diets, fortified foods, and nutrition education remain critical in reducing cases of stunting and other deficiency-related conditions. As stakeholders intensify efforts to address malnutrition, the focus remains on bridging the knowledge gap and ensuring that communities not only access food, but access the right nutrition. Yohane Chizomola, MBC, Cholo.
This is NBC News, a reminder of our top stories. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika and the First Lady, Madame Gertrude Mutharika, join all Malawians in conveying warmest wishes to Muslims across the nation on the auspicious occasion of Eid al-Fitr. In our special report this week, we look into the use of artificial intelligence, AI, in medical services in hospitals across the country. And a devastating mudslide displaces several households and destroys vast hectares of crops in traditional authority Mazingira in Lilongwe. Welcome back. What runs through your mind when you go to the hospital and see doctors using artificial intelligence tools to assist in diagnosing your condition? Do you feel comfortable? Patients, doctors and health experts have different views on the subject matter. In our special report this week, our reporter Jackson Sichali probes the use of AI in offering medical services to patients in different hospitals across the country.
Kaunda Gondwe from Livingstonia in Rumbi district came to seek medical attention at Wezi Medical Center in Mzozo City. Upon arrival, Gondwe is welcomed by the health personnel at the facility and went through the whole medical treatment process. While some patients feel uneasy when doctors use AI tools in patient examinations, Gondwe holds a different view. He believes that doctors require sufficient information to properly assess patients.
And from modeling and simulation, you have got the other added advantage of the artificial intelligence. You are saying, how does he expand the possibilities?
Benita Jeke is another patient who shares Gondwe's perspective, emphasizing the need for a mindset change among patients who perceive AI negatively.
When they search for some information, like they need some knowledge about what we are suffering, what we are feeling.
Commenting on the subject matter, Wise Medical Center Director Dr. Douglas Lungu said AI has improved certain aspects of medical practice, particularly in speeding up access to results. However, he was quick to caution that despite its efficiency, AI should not replace traditional patient examination methods using approved medical tools. Dr. Lungu stressed that doctors must apply their full professional knowledge when treating patients and avoid relying solely on AI, as it may sometimes provide inaccurate information that could negatively affect treatment outcomes.
You have to know what information you're looking for. You have to know what it is saying or what is being suggested. And that requires you to have enough knowledge. You have to have enough, what I would call profound knowledge, to be able to say, yes, this is what it is, to say, no, this is not. So you can't just walk off the street and then say, I'm going to use AI and I'm going to make a diagnosis, maybe of malaria. It may not work.
Concurring with Dr. Lungu, Director General for Mzuzu Central Hospital, Dr. Doris Kayambo, noted that not all information found online is reliable. She added that doctors rely on credible sources and professional networks to consult with specialists outside the country, helping to bridge knowledge gaps in difficult cases.
So it's very important that when you're using technology, artificial intelligence, we use the appropriate sites. When you're using the appropriate sites, there is nothing wrong, it is not harmful. The only time when it becomes harmful, it is when it's used inappropriately, when you're using inappropriate sites, and this also goes out to the community, that if someone just goes on to artificial intelligence on Google and Google a condition, depending on which site you're going to go to, either you get the correct information or not.
Principal Secretary responsible for administration in the Ministry of Health, Beston Chisamile, said in some cases, doctors use AI as a tool to refresh their knowledge on specific medical information. He added that as technology advances, Malawi should align itself with modern technology as the country aspires to achieve the Malawi 2063.
You know, learning is a continuous process. You might have trained in various things and there are also researches that have been conducted elsewhere. So the issue of going or to check in these issues of artificial intelligence, I wouldn't say as a government that we should disregard. Someone is just trying to get extra information to manage the problem at hand.
Despite acknowledging the benefits of AI in healthcare, health expert and nurse educator Dr. Everine Chilemba strongly warned medical practitioners to prioritize direct patient examination before applying AI-generated information, stressing that human life is paramount.
We should be very careful on AI and health issues. When a patient is describing what is wrong with him, sometimes he might not be exactly how he's feeling. The doctor should actually physically, or if there's need to take blood and analyze that blood. Don't just depend on AI, because AI has been fed by people with some information which might be right on other people, but on others it will be very wrong.
Malawi is making progress toward achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 3, which focuses on good health and well-being. Additionally, Sustainable Development Goal number 9, which focuses on industry, innovation and infrastructure, is closely linked to Sustainable Development Goal number 3 through improved data management systems, and efforts are currently underway to strengthen health administrative data systems to support evidence-based decision-making. Jackson Sejali, MPC News, Mzuzu.
A mudslide has swept houses and destroyed crops, affecting 17 households in Mewa village in the area of traditional authority Mazengira in Lilongwe. The disaster occurred following heavy rains that have been falling over the past days in the area, triggering a mudslide from Chilenje Hill that tore through parts of Mewa. Olive Piri reports.
The day which started well for the family of Stanley Banda and other residents of Mewa village did not end well on Tuesday. A mudslide from Chilenje Hill, accompanied by large rocks, destroyed and swept away houses, livestock, crops in the fields and property, leaving people like Banda with nothing but the clothes he was wearing.
It was around 2 p.m. when we had just arrived from our maize field. I was in our house and my wife was in the kitchen preparing food when we heard a loud noise. My wife went out of the kitchen and saw water mixed with debris and huge rocks approaching our village. She called me to come out of the house immediately.
According to Lilongwe District Commissioner Stalish Mwambiwa, the disaster has affected about 36 hectares of cropland. Mwambiwa said it may be difficult for the affected households to resume farming in certain parts of the area due to large rocks that remain scattered across the land.
So far we do not have any injuries, and also we do not haven't registered any death, but rather maybe loss of property. And the part of this land has been affected obviously permanently, because the rocks that have been driven down here, you can't be able to use the same land.
The Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DODIMA, said it is concerned about the impact of the disaster in the area. Commissioner for DODIMA, Wilson Moleni, said the department has already provided food and other essential relief items to the affected households as part of the emergency response.
We did provide other utensils yesterday, but they need more. They've lost everything that made their livelihoods, so they need a lot more support beyond food.
According to the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DODIMA, over 10,000 households have been affected by heavy rains and flooding in some parts of the country. Olive Piri, MPC News, Lilongwe.
In business news, the Ministry of Industrialization, Business and Trade has stressed the need for continued engagement with the private sector to help create a business-friendly policy environment. Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Bright Molande, said this during a business forum in Blantyre. Molande expressed hope that a friendly business environment has the potential to spur growth as well as job creation. Waupi Mongulu has the details.
The high-level business forum, dubbed CEO Connect, was held to provide a platform for policy engagement, which is critical towards the country's economic recovery process. Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Industrialization, Business and Trade, Bright Molande, says such forums are critical as the country charts its path to macroeconomic stability.
this government is emphasizing economic growth, and the method for us to achieve economic growth is that we must industrialize, supporting communities, cooperatives, SMEs to grow into manufacturing entity. That is the only way for Malawi's economy to grow, and that is the only way for Malawi to produce and export and reduce importing.
One of the private sector representatives, Philip Madinga, has since pledged to promote investment in Malawi's growth sectors like tourism and mining.
I think we have challenges, but I think these challenges are a huge opportunity for us to pivot as a country. So as Standard Bank, we are ready to work with government to exploit the new opportunities. As government looks at fiscal consolidation and macroeconomic stability, we also want to partner with them and other private sector stakeholders to start supporting, for example, productive sectors like agriculture. We want to support mining, we want to support tourism, but we also want to support value addition, especially for our agriculture-related crops and commodities. All these sectors, yes, are important in terms of driving Malawi forward or Malawi's growth or economic recovery. But there's also one particular sector which we believe is very critical. That's energy.
Adding to Madinga's sentiments, MCCCI's Chief Executive Officer Daisy Kambalame added that the creation and growth of companies is key to economic growth.
Well, I think one of the key issues is to understand that economic growth and development doesn't happen if the private sector is not there. So the conversation today really looks at how are you growing, are you creating further opportunities for other growth, and also are you really looking at how accountable you are to your key stakeholders, and those stakeholders would be your employees, your customers, the government, your investors, your shareholders. So if you look at ESGs, it really covers all these aspects of how you are growing, how you are defining your growth path.
The forum attracted both local and international stakeholders who shared knowledge on ESG reporting, as well as how banks are embedding ESG into traditional credit analysis, as well as highlighting opportunities in sustainable finance. Waupi Mongulu, MBC News, Blantyre.
In sports, Women in Sports Commission in Malawi will on today hold a special event to commemorate International Women's Day at Kamuzu Institute for Sports in Lilongwe. Globally, the day falls on 8 March annually, but is celebrated throughout the month. Addressing the media in Blantyre, chairperson for the commission, Ntombizana Tindwa, said the event is aimed at celebrating women's excellence in sports, from athletes to administrators. Celebrated netball coach Mary Waya, who last month won the Hall of Fame award at the Malawi Sport Awards, will be among the influential women in sports to grace the event.
We thought it wise that we have to celebrate our women who are doing extraordinary things in different sporting activities. Since this is our month, we thought that to celebrate them, it's a proper thing to do. We have lined up a number of activities, but first of all, we are going to start with a 5-kilometer walk that is going to start from Kamuzu Institute of Sports through Masinta and Kamuzu Barracks roundabout, and we're going to go back to Kamuzu Institute of Sports. There, we're going to have different activities, like sporting activities like volleyball, basketball, netball, tug of war. This year's theme, it's give to get. We want to give that girl child or a woman who is aspiring to be an athlete an opportunity to showcase or to align or to affiliate herself to a sporting code, that it can be developed and at the end of the day bring results not only to the community but to the country as a whole. We need to invest in these young girls or girls in order for us to harvest the benefits in the near future.
Well, that item wraps up this edition of MBC News. A reminder of our top stories. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika and the First Lady, Madame Gertrude Mutharika, join all Malawians in conveying warmest wishes to Muslims across the nation on the auspicious occasion of Eid al-Fitr. In our special report this week, we look into the use of artificial intelligence, AI, in medical services in hospitals across the country. And a devastating mudslide displaces several households and destroys vast hectares of crops in traditional authority Mazingira in Lilongwe. For the latest news, follow our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You've been with me here, Ngomano. Thanks for watching and goodbye.